I try to take a walk in Central Park every Shabbat. Before I leave the house, I always debate what to take. Will I need sunglasses, any cash, headphones, tissues? Once I'm sure I have exactly what I need and nothing extra, then I can go out and enjoy my stroll. I wouldn't want to go out with any unnecessary weight in my bag. If I am careful about not carrying unnecessary tissues, how much more so would the ancient Israelites have aspired to travel lightly throughout their 40 years wandering in the desert? Imagine these haggard, overheated, newly freed slaves hiking through hot sand, sweat dripping down their brows and backs. They didn't even carry food, instead relying on daily rations of manna from the heavens. So it's noteworthy that among their bare bones provisions, the Israelites carried the shivrei luchot, the broken fragments from the first set of the 10 Commandments. If we think back to Exodus, we'll recall that Moses spent 40 days atop Mount Sinai communing directly with God. But when he returned to the base of the mountain carrying the newly carved 10 Commandments, he was shocked to discover that the Israelites had built an idolatrous golden calf in his absence, directly violating the very first rule on the tablets in Moses' hands. Overwhelmed with anger, Moses threw the tablets down, shattering them. The Israelites might have abandoned these shards of rock. After all, they were a physical reminder of the Israelites' transgression and of Moses' outrage. And, if nothing else, they might have been extra weight. But nothing could be farther from the truth. Instead, the Israelites housed these broken tablets in the ark, in the very heart of the Holy of Holies, throughout their entire 40 years wandering in the desert. They knew that these shards were sacred. Torah is offering us an amazing lesson here. The ancient Israelites sanctified these broken pieces, the very part of their story that was painful and difficult to carry. Can we, like them, sanctify our brokenness? Can we sanctify our broken hearts? Even in Zman Simchatenu, our time of joy, as our tradition dubs Sukkot, the world still gives us countless reasons for heartbreak. My heart breaks for our neighbors in the southeast who lost everything in hurricanes Milton and Helene. My heart breaks every time I see a child on the subway selling candy bars for pennies. My heart breaks with just about every news report out of the Middle East. And there are the personal reasons for heartbreak. We've lost loved ones whom we'll memorialize in Yizkor in a few days. We've lost relationships and friendships. We've lost jobs. We've lost imagined or planned for futures. We've lost a sense of security as Jews in America. With so much heartbreak, we protect ourselves by building walls around our broken hearts. We keep ourselves busy with work. We distract ourselves with television or TikTok. We redecorate our homes or buy new clothes. We tell people we're okay when we aren't. We pretend to feel whole, when in reality, our hearts really feel like they've shattered, like those tablets Moses threw to the ground. In his commentary on these broken tablets, the 11th century sage Rashi imagines that these shards were stored underneath the full tablets in the ark in the Holy of Holies. One way to understand Rashi's comment is that the broken tablets were placed underneath the full tablets to hide them, the ancient Israelite version of turning to Netflix instead of thinking about our heartache. But if the Israelites wanted to hide the shivrei luchot, those broken tablets, there were much easier ways to do that. Why not bury them in the sand and leave them behind? It doesn't make sense to haul heavy rock just to hide it. If the Israelites were schlepping pounds of rubble for 40 years, They must have had a better reason than simply hiding the wreckage. Instead, I want to offer this other way to understand Rashi's comment. The Israelites placed the broken tablets underneath the full tablets to preserve them as a foundation on which the full tablets stood. Our ancient ancestors needed the broken tablets as spiritual bedrock, as the foundation of what could come next. Imagine if we saw our broken hearts as spiritual bedrock. Imagine if we stopped pushing away our broken hearts, distancing and distracting ourselves from them, and instead sanctified them. But how might we do this? A sukkah can be a model of what is possible for our hearts. On Sukkot, we sit and eat and even sleep in flimsy structures whose walls might just be flaps of fabric tied into place, and whose intentionally incomplete roofs allow us to see the stars. The fragile sukkah reminds us of how fragile we really are. What if we built a sukkah instead of sturdy walls around our broken hearts? One of the sukkah's defining functions is welcoming guests. Our sages debated whether each person should have their own sukkah or whether we should build communal sukkot. We know where this one ends. We build communal sukkot, like this one here, which become gathering places where we meet, greet, and eat together. If we surround our broken hearts with fragile sukkot instead of firm walls, can we likewise invite others to come with us, to witness our brokenness and just maybe to help us carry its load? I'll admit this is really hard for me to do. It's something I'm working on. But every time I let a friend know how I'm really doing, every time I invite them into the fragile little sukkah around my heart, my heavy load feels much easier to carry. Perhaps this can be true for all of us. To close, I want to offer a reflection by Rabbi Alan Liu from his arresting book on the high holidays, including Sukkot. He wrote, "This is real. This is very real. This is absolutely inescapable. And we are utterly unprepared. And we have nothing to offer but each other and our broken hearts. And that will be enough." Ken Yehi Ratzon.